Hey everyone, welcome to Thursday and to our exploration of happy hips. I'm excited for this one today. It's a nice restorative class. What you're gonna need today is your most graceful mindset, the one that approaches every movement with a sense of grace, curiosity, intention. It doesn't have to be super duper heavy in terms of like significance in your mindset, but it does help when we are just like acknowledging that what we're about to do is meant to be healthy for our own bodies. And then the other thing that you might want to have on hand is a chair for yourself. We're going to do some seated work, and for some of you whose hips are a little tighter or you're feeling a little bit more just restricted in the hip joints, you might want a chair nearby. And then lastly, I have just, good old-fashioned broomstick. Remove the head. If you have a stick, pretty much anything will do. We're just going to use it both for some alignment cueing and also for some balance. So let's get ourselves started. We want to remember why we're here today, and then we also want to have everybody in. And so I can see your comments. There we go. The other thing that I wanted to mention was this week's movement focus, of which we're trying to do quite a few of them every week. This week was on using your movement to address the stressors in your world. And I'm just wondering how that worked out for some of you. Have you been able to appropriately use your movement to address the stress? I'll tell you a little story. Yesterday, my morning started out a little emotionally. We won't get into why, but it was just like a trigger of emotions that I wasn't ready for, and I ended up having some water leak from my eyes, as happens sometimes, right? And so I knew I needed to just kind of like let the crying happen, which I did. But then after a while, I just felt like I couldn't shift out of it. Like it was a looming cloud of maybe like long-term depression. And I have some mental health struggles with anxiety and depression. And so I wanted to just take a minute and see, okay, what should I do? And what I did was I did a rebounding session. And it wasn't that rebounding eliminates the depression. That's not at all what I'm saying. What it did for me is it reminded me that there's more than one state of mind that you can be in throughout the day. And even though I had sadness in my heart and just these emotions that were bubbling up, I also could give myself a break and just be silly on the rebounder. And so today, if you're in like an intense mindset, maybe today is just about, being really gentle and kind to yourself. And if you have any sadness in your heart, just letting that either flow or just taking a break from it for right now, okay? So mental health month, mental health week for some of us, we're here together. We're gonna start standing and we're gonna begin working on a hip hinge. This is in a very silly way because it's so simple. It feels like it's one of those things that is like too simple, and it's so simple I just won't do it. But do it. I want to make sure you're doing it. So take your index fingers, take them just in your hip creases like so. And then all you're gonna do is fold your hips around them. So feel like your fingers can glide backward towards your deep hip sockets. Feel that stretch along the back line of your legs, bending or stretching as much as you can, and you're working towards a 90-degree angle at your hips with a flatter back. And if that doesn't happen, maybe your hip hinge is here, and that's okay, all right? And then let's stand all the way up, nice and tall. So we'll do that a couple times, just hinging forward, thinking of getting long from head to tail, so we have lots of space to breathe. And then standing up. So getting to know the way that the hips close and fold and the angle decreases, and then the opposite where they open up and you start to feel a little more space in there. Let's do that a couple more times. All the way up. Good. And last one. Good. All right, so we're going to take those arms out in front. This time as we hinge, let's take our arms to a T. Good. Hold it here and just do a little twist to your right side. Think of an airplane turning. Come back to center. Good, and then twist to the opposite side. come back to center, and then we're gonna reach the arms forward as we come up. And then to open the hips a little bit more, let's press your arms back, lift your chest, and just press your hips forward slightly. Good, and then hinge as you reach your arms forward. Open them to the T, rotate to one side. As much or as little as you have, you're just exploring the motion right now, and then go to the other direction. Good, coming back to center, reaching forward. Open your hips as you press your chest to the sky. Start to bring in a little more breath. We're gonna do this one more time. Hips hinge as your arms reach. Open to the T, rotate to one side, look. See something amazing, come back to center. See something also amazing, come back to center. Reach forward and find your little back bend. You're opening up. Good, releasing all the way down. Let's go ahead and take the broomstick for a little bit of support here. I'm gonna push it down into the mat and just hold on to it for a little balance. And just let's take a march that brings your knee to the opposite side of the broomstick, and then back a little wider to hip width, and then march crossing and back. Marching and down. See if you can really feel your foot planting. Feel your footprint, shift your weight, and reach across. And all of us are gonna lose our balance, yeah? Good, good morning, Tracy, good morning, Joy. Very excited for this class. I know you're both gonna love it. Also, good morning to anybody who's watching but not commenting. You are welcome here. It's funny because I don't know your body from a visual sense, but from your comments and your messages, when I plan my classes, I start to think about what might be yummy and good for all of us, what we're struggling with, what might feel nice. Good. Let's go one more each side. So I feel like I'm planning for your body, even though maybe I just know one little piece of your commentary mind. Let's widen those legs out. Take a nice wide stance. And this is gonna be in accordance with your mobility. So we're gonna walk down the broomstick. We're gonna go 4, 3, 2, 1, and then walk it up. So I've got a little turnout in my legs, just warming up the hips, pressing the knees open so my inner thighs get a stretch and my outer thighs get activated. And then the last piece, after we get a little comfortable with this movement, I want you to try to keep your chest up. I'm gonna move my feet back a little bit more so that's maybe possible. 4, 3, 2, 1, and up. And again, any amount you have, just take it down nice and easy, even if you're just staying within the counts. That's fine. This is gentle, this is warming. Sometimes there's a little bit of irritation happening, right? I know. My knees are still warming up. I'm just trying to talk to them gently. Say, come on. It's good for us to bend all the way down. It's good for us to get up from the floor. We're gonna do this twice more. Here we go, just building a little warm. 2, 3, 4, up, up, up. Good, last time. Excellent. And all the way up to the top. Good. All right, rotate your knees inward, your toes inward. Gently bend your knees and then stretch. If there's any sharpshooting pains and this is not the motion for you, then by all means don't do it. We're just introducing a little bit of a different plane of motion, kind of because we want our hips to feel that interior crease. My philosophy as we're doing these kind of restorative, maybe conditioning, mobility-based classes is to remind the body of its options, direct it appropriately towards some good strength places, and then go from there. Good. All right, last one. Good. We're gonna rotate our feet back in, walk them in to parallel position, just about hip width, maybe a little wider than your hip sockets. And we're just gonna rise up on the balls of our feet and lower down. So I'd like you to think almost like you have no knees and that your hips are pulling your thigh bone up. So what, around this whole area, what can you do to feel like your hip muscles are helping to lift you high And then your core muscles are just keeping you nice and strong, nice and lifted, nice and supported, yeah? Good. Excellent. Reach and down. Reach and down. We're gonna do 2 more. Woo. Finding that balance. And last one. And good. All right, one more thing in standing. Take your legs back to more of a narrow turnout position, not as wide as those knee bends. And then we're gonna take our broomstick or stick, whatever you've got, right at chest height. Tracy, for your shoulder, depending on how it's feeling, you're probably gonna wanna keep it right here. You can also try overhead and see if the extra support of the bar helps you here. We wanna feel like we are a piece of bread inside of a toaster. So that doesn't mean thin necessarily, it just means uniform. So we are humans with lots of curves and grooves and edges. Just imagine what it feels like to be in one plane that is the appropriate size for your body. And then we're gonna side bend over, keeping your hips pretty still, pressing through your heels, taking a long stretch through the body. Take your top hand and pull the pole back up to come back overhead. Lower down to chest height. Lift it back up and think of wrapping your underarms forward, like you're showing me your armpits. I know, but it works. Let's go to the side. Keep your armpits facing ahead, all the way over. Hi, flashy. Good, pull it up. All the way to the top. Lower the arms down. Lift it up. Here we go, lifting up to go over. Nice long stretch. Reaching, pressing through the feet. Good. Pull the top arm up, reach out through the bottom arm, lower the arms to chest height, and lift them back up. One more time. All the way over. Good. Just creating some space around our waist. Good. Pulling it back up to center. Excellent. Lower down and rest all the way. All right. Make your way carefully down to the mat. Keep your broomstick nearby. And then we're going to go ahead and be on our back for a moment. So come into a comfortable space and just let your body arrive here. Feel where your pelvis naturally falls. Try not to make too many adjustments to what you think the right place is. Just let it be where it's at. And we're gonna begin taking the right knee into your chest. Now, if you can hold onto your knee, awesome. If you need your hands on your thigh or someplace else, if you don't need your hands, that's okay too. For this one, I like to use my hands. It's called the knee stir. So we're gonna put the right hand on top of your kneecap, your left hand on top of your right hand, and just allow your femur, which is your thigh bone, to feel heavy towards the back of your pelvis, towards the mat. The way that I like to think about it is my thigh bone, my femur, is like a big wooden spoon. My pelvis is like a bowl of chocolate frosting, and I'm trying to get that spoon down to the bottom of the bowl. And then you can probably guess what's gonna happen next. We're gonna mix the frosting. So you're gonna take it in a slow circle. We want the smoothest frosting possible. So if you come across any lumps or bumps, your options are to slow it down, to make the circle smaller, perhaps to speed it up, to rest in a space that feels particularly lumpy or bumpy. Because when our hips get tight, sometimes those bones, they get held in places that are not fully seated in their joint. So we're just helping our femur bone find our hip socket once again and see if you can actually just relax into it. Just let your hips relax, right? We always hear about how much tension we hold in our hips, whether or not that's accurate for you. We always have an option to find a little more rest. Let's do one more circle in the direction that you're going in, and then we're gonna reverse it. And just know that when you reverse the frosting, sometimes you will find some new bumps. So just keep it moving nice and smooth. Good. And incidentally, you're getting a little bit of shoulder mobility here just by virtue of letting your hands kind of move along with your leg. If there was a body part that was more of a leader, it would be the arms at this point, letting the hip be the follower so that you can actually release into it. Good. We're gonna go about 3 more. one more. Bring it up and pause here. See if you can reach for your broomstick and then just bring it behind your knee. And you're just gonna let your thigh press gently against the broomstick. So you can just kind of hang out here because the pressure against your leg and the broomstick itself is working. Flex your foot and just turn out your leg. So dial your heel towards your left if you're working your right leg and your knee towards the right. And then just roll it in the opposite direction. There's not too much there for me. So we're just gonna shine the foot to the left and then we're gonna shine it over to the right. You're just keeping that pressure against the back of your leg. We're no longer passive. Now we're getting a little active in our hip flexors. Now, this is the part that I always have to remind my type A, hit them hard, you know, go, no pain, no gain people. My babies, my loves, I promise you, you're gonna feel better than you ever have in your hips by the end of this class if you just let yourself slow down. I say this from a place of deep knowing because I am type A in lots of recovery, okay? Good. All right, come back to center. Keep holding onto that bar, working your grip strength, right? We're gonna extend the leg up, and then bend. You may sing opera with me if you like. All the way down. So sorry for the cats and dogs. And the very delicate glass. We need that stretch. Good. Up. We're gonna do two more. Stretching it as high as you're able to. And if that's not all the way to straight, that's okay. All right, leave the last one up there. Give a gentle push to your broomstick for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax your leg and just give a little tug into a deeper stretch if you've got it. Hang here with me. Push again gently. Anything you got, push into the broomstick with your leg. Good. Relax your leg, but keep it in that position. Pull it a little closer if you can. And we're going to do one more time. Push into the broomstick. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the leg, but pull it in a little closer if you can. And release all the way down. Put your broomstick to the side. Let's straighten that leg out. Give it a little shake. Nice work, everybody. Good. All right, other side. Get that spoon. Drop it in the bowl. Same hand as me on top if you can reach it. You can also hold on. And then just stir it into the middle. Trying to get all those lumps and bumps out. Good. All right, you're all still here with me. I gotta check in every once in a while. This class is really nice for anybody who has any issues that would keep them from doing a lot of back bending because we're working on a lot of hip strength. So it's good to get from standing to sitting. It's good to reorganize your hips. Let's reverse our circles. And it's also nice to just get a sense of all the different actions that your hip is responsible for. So the general rules of anatomy are pretty straightforward, but then you get into like the next layer of how the body works and you realize that sometimes a thing is moving a piece of your body. Sometimes a muscle is keeping movement from happening in a part of your body. Sometimes a muscle is helping another muscle move a piece. It's very integrated. So I'm just paying attention and learning. All of it is a nice thing. Good. Let's finish up our last few. Good. And then go ahead and find your broomstick, and we're going to bring the leg up to about 90 degrees. Flex your foot and just turn the left foot towards the right side. And then whatever you got. I don't have too much on the outside one. I aspire to have it there. Now, as you're doing this movement, whether you're listening to me or watching, just try to keep it centralized to your thigh bone. So that means you're not shifting or sliding a lot on your mat. You're just letting the movement happen as much or as little as it's able to. Good. Let's go one more each side, each direction. Come back to center. We're gonna extend and bend. This one's not quite so bad. And extend up and bend it down. And again. I created us a nice chill playlist today. There's a couple of Taylor Swift type songs coming up. Of course, we're at the space where we can pay for royalty-free music from unknown artists, which are not bad. I like them, but we're not quite at Taylor Swift level. If you want to make a donation to the Taylor Swift Fund, be my guest. link in show notes. Good, go one more time, all the way up to stay. We're gonna push into the bar, hold it there for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the pressure, release out of the pressure, give yourself a little pull. Do it again, push the bar for 6, 5, 4. This is a good amount of effort. Release the pressure, pull it in. It's a good amount of effort, but your veins aren't popping out of your head, all right? Press it. Good, and relax it back. One more time. And all the way in. All right, good. Let it lengthen all the way down, shake it out. All right, so we've done our knee stirs. And now we're gonna do just a little bit of a bridge activity with the bar, with the stick. If you're not using a broomstick and you're just using your hands, put your hands on your hips. We're gonna walk our feet in close. I want you to have your feet a little bit wider. And then we're gonna press up to a glute bridge. So you're in a nice long line between your knees, your hips, your shoulders. And here is your level pelvis. From here, we're gonna drop the left hip so the hip bone and the hip comes away from the broomstick, and then press that hip right back up to the broomstick, and then do the other side. Drop the right one down, but keep the left one lifted, and come all the way up. You may have a lot of action, you may have a little action. Just see what's there. So the left releases, and then reconnects, and then the right one reaches and reconnects. Everything else is staying pretty still. You are not using the broomstick like a typewriter. It's just holding its space. I think my age demographic knows what a typewriter is, but if you don't, you're working with an old person. I'm just kidding. Google it. Lower the right and lift it up. Let's go one more time. I'm sure you're feeling your legs right now. Good. All the way up and then down and all the way up, and then just let yourself ripple all the way down and release. All right, keep yourself here. We're gonna fold in one leg right around that broomstick and lower it down. So these are just little knee folds, hip folds, all the way in. All right, we've got this, so we're gonna do it a little bit in and down. Imagine that you could break your broomstick. Don't do it really, but you're doing with your hip fold, right? Just folding it in. Just get that broomstick below your tummy, right down to your hip joint. Let's go for 4, and start to notice how much you're rocking and rolling your hips around as you lift your knees up. It's not bad. We just can always get a little more specific, right? All right, let's come up again, wide feet. Let's lift up to the glute bridge, and we're gonna drop again the left hip and then press it back to the broomstick. And again, the right hip. So this is pulling some movement in from the hips, from the pelvis, but also a little rotation from your spine. And sometimes if your hips are locked up, it's because your spine is locked up. So if we can reintroduce movement here, we can get a lot out of it. Let's go for 4, goes down and press to the top, down and press to the top, down and press it up. Last one. Nice and easy, roll all the way down, let your hips be heavy. Get your broomstick right into the groove. Now, if you can keep your pelvis heavy, instead of single legs, you can pull up and in, and then lower down with abdominal control, or you can just work the hip up and up. Let's try it, ready? This can be a little ab add-on. But again, the goal is to keep your pelvis heavy against the mat and then work the hip fold. You do what you need to do. If it's a single leg, then you can maybe focus a little on the abdominals as you work the single leg. Good. Nice little stability exercise, keeping your feet nice and light, feeling the fold all the way down to the interior of your hip socket, not just on the outside, yeah? Let's go 2 more, 1 more each side, or 2 more with both. Good. Excellent. All right, we've got 1 more little thing to do with the broomstick here, and this is a typewriter. So I only say this. If you don't know what a typewriter is, it's just we're gonna imagine our hips on a shelf, and we're just gonna slide laterally back and forth along the broomstick like the carriage of a typewriter. I feel like I'm dating myself, but who knows. All right, we're gonna press it up. So get it up into your glute. Hold your bar, your broomstick still, and then just slide your hips as far as they'll go to the left and as far as they'll go to the right. Ideally, we're not disconnecting this time. So just sliding over, and just see how far you can go in each direction, how level you can keep those hips. Often I'll hold the stick for my clients as they do this. Breathing, of course. Finish up your last one here and then come back to center and lower halfway down. We're not quite to the mat. You're gonna do it again. Slide it and slide it. This gets a different part of your hip and a different segment of your spine. Good. Reach and reach. 1 more in each direction. And then we're gonna lower down 1 more time. Come back to center and come just either to where your glutes are grazing the mat or you're just hovered up, and go side to side. Waking up that spine, waking up the hips. Good, give me 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center, curl your tail under, roll all the way down. Let's take the bar overhead. Let's take a big stretch all the way out. Reaching through your heels, reaching through your arms. You can maybe let that bar go behind you. Good. Take your arms down by your sides, like a little wider than the mat. Walk your feet in a little closer and then stand your right leg up and keep your left leg long. Everything stays heavy to the mat. We're gonna stand into the right foot so we can roll and stretch. Now, my right knee is pointing to the ceiling. My hips are rolling up. My leg is heavy on the ground. I'm looking for length across the front of the body. And as I come back in, I'm gonna drop that spoon right into the bowl of frosting, okay? Imagine like the gooeyest, I think we're into cake batter now. I'm not mad about it. So as you reach your knee out, it's like that nice long, stretch of the batter, and then pull it all the way in when you know the cake's gonna be really juicy and good. So twist it, reach it. If you can keep your other shoulder on the ground, if you're lifting your right hip, keep your right shoulder on the ground. That makes it nice. And don't forget to drop it back into the bowl, right? So reach it way out. This is called disassociating, and then we're gonna call this reassociating into the frosting. Good, couple more. Breathing, big inhale, let your belly expand, let it open, let it stretch, and then bring it back down. And 1 more, big stretch, open, and bring it all the way back down. All right, let's bend our opposite leg up, reach the other one down, and then the same thing, push down into your standing foot, roll onto the other hip, open it up, and then come all the way back in, drop that thigh bone back into the bowl. And again, reach. If you feel a lot of pressure in your low back here, you might tuck your tail a tiny bit, just to kind of keep things nice and balanced front to back. Good. Here we go, keep reaching. And pulling it down. Let's do 3 more. Paying attention to that opposite shoulder. And 2. Good. And last one. All right, dropping it down. Bend your right knee back up. Feel the heaviness of your hips. Real good. Let's roll onto our sides. And we're gonna take our hand onto our arm. Bottom leg is bent, and we're gonna do a little range of motion. So pick your top leg up, make sure it's in line with your hip. We're gonna fold in the hip like we've been doing to bring the knee up. We're gonna open it to the sky into turnout. And then from here, I want you to see if you can reach it all the way behind yourself. So use your opposite hand for balance. Bring it way back behind you, and then sweep it all the way through. So you're going front to the side, all the way back, counterbalancing. Everything else is staying pretty still. If you've got a good sense of balance, you can always add a little fist forward to give you a little more recruitment, to keep a little more tension in your body, your core, your arm. Good. Yes. We're gonna do one more in this direction. Good. Breathing as you go. This should be challenging because you're trying to make as big a circle as possible. I think this is our last one. So each time you go around, you're trying to make it a little bigger, so you just, if you're working with yet another bowl of frosting, what are we making today? Let's reverse. Then you're scraping the frosting. Here's the spoon. Scrape it back. Scrape it up. Scrape it all the way forward, yeah? Push it back. Reach it around. And we're adding in a little tension with the hands, with the core, just to keep it very specific to your hip. That's it. Let's go two more in this direction. Good. Excellent. And last one. All the way around. Good. Rest it down. Take your front hand, prop yourself up. Let's come up on your forearm. You can always stay down if you need to, but use this as a means of practicing a little support. So lift your ribs away from the ground, elbow under, shoulder. Take this top leg out, stretch it. We're gonna kick it forward. Big stretch, we're gonna press it way back behind us. Good, kick it forward. That's it, press it back. Thank you for the love, everybody. Kick it forward, press it back. Kick it forward, press it back. Let's go two more. Kick it forward, press it back. And last one, kick it forward and press it back. And then come on, one more time here. All right, we're gonna do a little kind of fun one. It's a little clam. I want you to see if you can lift your feet off the ground. We're gonna open the knee and close it down. It might not go very far. Outer hip, and all together. What you're not doing is rolling back and rolling forward. So if you need to keep your feet down in order to keep yourself stable, do that, yeah? Open and fold. Keep going. 4 and in. 3. Good work. You can always take your hand behind your head if you don't need it. 2. Yes. Last one. Good, all the way down. All right, straighten your bottom leg. Bring your front knee in front, and then see if you can lower yourself down and open for a little hip twist. We've been waiting for this one. If you'd like more challenge, more stretch, you can extend your top leg, straighten it out from your hip. Breathing. Good. Go ahead and bend your knee all the way in. Let's reach around. Let's come all the way up, and then we'll swivel to the other side. So we've got our mobility and we've got our kicks, and then we're almost there. We're gonna come up into our chair and finish up and get ready to stand for the day, okay? So nice and stacked, lift that top leg up. We're folding in the hip to bring it forward. We're reaching it up to the top. We're either punching forward to counterbalance or putting a little spider finger down or maybe in closer. Each time trying to make more out of our recipe, our hip recipe. You must be jonesing for chocolate today, huh? because I didn't pick vanilla. It's not even on the template. Good. Reach, press it back with control, bring it through. Let's do one more in this direction, yeah? Open it up, press it back, bring it through. Let's reverse. Somebody added some chocolate chips into this hip, so I'm gonna smooth it out. Good. And so sometimes if I find it crunchy at the end range, I might back off for a few, see if I can find a smoother pathway. Or sometimes I go a little deeper into it and see if it's asking to be challenged more through the range, all the way up, all the way around. Good, let's do two more. Yes. Last one. Lift it, reach it around. Good. All the way in. Bring it back up. Come up onto your arm if you can. Make sure you have enough space. Extend that front leg out. We're gonna kick, and press. Actually, we just did a one long kick. And press, that's it. Folding as deep as you can for the stretch. Press it back. That's it. Keeping everything else stable, open, lifted. You're fine, Flash. I see you. No doggies. Good. Up. No, sir. 2. Last one. Bring it back and bend it in. Good. I know, we're feeling it. Let's lift those feet up. We're gonna open and close. Hand behind the head if you like. You gonna come over, Flash? Come here. You too comfy? We didn't get a flash cam set up today. Yeah, he's too comfy. Good. Woo. Let's go. 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Straighten that bottom leg out, bring the front leg in front, and then roll yourself down. And if you have less twist on this side, which is what I'm finding, I'm also finding a sloth. Dog's toy. Maybe you don't stretch your legs out on this side. That's what I'm gonna decide to do, just keep it bent. Closer into the body means more control. Farther away means a little more challenge to your control. Good. All right, my friends, we are almost there. Let's come on up. So the next piece we're gonna do is either seated, like so, or seated in your chair, up on top. Whoops. Like so here, just with the hands on the back of the chair, and you're gonna be onto the front edge of the chair. And we're just gonna do a little rotation in one direction, and we're gonna do a little rotation in the other direction. We're gonna do it a couple times. So choose what you like, choose what you need. And then I'm gonna come down here, sitting nice and tall. We're gonna let our knees rotate over to one side, and the chest stays relatively facing forward as much as we can. And then we center the hips to come back. And then we're gonna roll to the other side, letting your knee drop all the way down. Good. And then all the way back. And again, these gentle movements, they're not meant to be the hardest thing in your life, unless you are lacking for whatever reason in mobility. So you might feel like it's very challenging today. But if your hips are pretty mobile, you might be like, I don't know. So how do we make it work if your hips are mobile? We take away some support. So if you're feeling pretty mobile, start to work it without your hands. Start to go side to side. You could try this on the chair too, just be careful that you don't fall, yeah? Start to initiate from your thigh bone for a challenge. You can also start to initiate from your pelvis. You could take your arms up, which is gonna be a little more challenging here. You don't need to do any of these. It's just always how we play with the lever lengths of our body. Again, the farther away something is from your body, the more challenging it's gonna be. You can play with different angles, all of the things, yeah? Good. All right, we're gonna do one more each side. This is kind of a clearing out of sorts. Good, come back to center. Okay, so you can either come onto your knees, and actually I think I'm gonna join you with the chair here. Makes a little more sense. So we're gonna be in a bit of a hip hinge here, like we did at the beginning. And if you are having a challenge with your 90-degree angle, you might come up to the top of your chair so your hinge is a little higher. We're gonna have a bend in the knee. And you're just working to support yourself from front to back. So that means maybe just hugging your rib cage up slightly. We're gonna bring your knee into your chest like we did before without rounding, so keeping it nice and flat. And I just want you to kick it back behind you. So bring it in, kick it back. Bring it in, kick it back, that's it. And you're probably gonna notice sooner rather than later that a lot of the work is actually happening on the standing leg, yeah? Good. Nice and strong, nice and stable. Focusing on something static, something that's not moving. Thinking of your spine as a nice, long, extended spiral. Good. We've got 3 more here. This is extending our hips. 2. Good. We're gonna hold the last one out, okay? Hold it out there. We're gonna turn your hips to rotate and face front like so. And then turn your hips to rotate and face the chair. So if you had headlights on the front of your hips, they would be facing the front. You could also come up a little bit there, that's helpful. And then they're facing back down. This is a big challenge for our balance, right? Rotate it. And rotate it back down. Rotate it, open, and roll it back down. This is the same thing we were doing on the hip walk on the floor, except with a little more intensity. Let's go one more. Good, bring it all the way down. Bend your knee, either stand up with a flat back or roll up, whatever is good for you. Let's take a deep breath in. Hello, birds. All the way down. We ready for the other side? Okay, here we go. So flat back, hinge, bend your knee in, reach it back. We're gonna do these a little swifter on this side, a little quicker, but reach both end points. The knee is in, and the knee and heel are out. We're almost here today. Today's class, you know, it's like you can't possibly get it in 20 minutes. You could do a couple of these things and it'd be fine, but this is a treatment, not a maintenance program today, okay? Let's go 3, 2, last one, press it out. I'm gonna take my hand up again because that felt good. And we're gonna rotate it, hips to the back or hips to the other side. Rotate your hips down to the chair. Good, open it up. Now, if this gets really tedious for you, just tap your heel down, okay? Try to find ways to keep going. It's not always the version of the exercise that's important, it's the ability to stay in it, yeah? Go 4 more. Yes. And up. Good work. Last one. All the way up and all the way down. Good. Bring it down, roll up or round up. Woo. Okay. Last little thing. Little mobility. Holding the chair onto the side. Stand on that right leg. We're gonna flex in the knee here. Kick it out. Unlock your standing leg. If you don't need the chair, try your balance. Good. Fold it. Press it wide. Keep your body in that toaster again. Good. And you know, right now, I'm feeling more like a brioche bun than a flat piece of white bread. So embrace the shape of your gluten and make the toaster fit you. Just don't be on a diagonal, right? Because that throws you off your balance. Good. We have one more of these. Yes. Up and reach. And this is all coming from the gluten-free lady. All right. Guess what? That's our last song. Let's go on the other side. Find your balance. I'm going to flip it back just so we finish with a little bit of intention and musica. Here we go. Bring that knee up. Reach it out. Good. My problem is always that I like doing my job. And I like an hour class, but I know that you always don't have it. Good. And notice, as I'm losing my balance, that as I'm moving through space, I'm thinking about pushing through like a solid substance. This is called isometric resistance. It can help you find control, just like we added tension in our fists when we were on the ground. This is a nice way to find that tension and engage it. Good. Let's do 2. And last one. Don't lose your balance. Good. All the way down. If you've got your chair, use your chair here. If you don't have it, just take a couple squats. Think about sitting. Make sure your chair is behind you. And then just sit and touch and stand. Feel how easy it feels? We're just going to do 8 of them. Keep that chest lifted. 3, 2, and last one. All the way up. All right, my friends. May your hips be happy, right? Here is our question to finish class. Why did the moves matter to you today? I know Tracy's going to tell me. I look forward to it every single week. Why did they matter and why do we do this? We do this so we can anchor into something that helps us come back. So the example I gave at the beginning of class where I was feeling a little unstable, I remember that I have an outlet for my stress, I have an outlet for my emotions, I can take a break from them, I can shift them. They're probably going to be there when I'm done, but giving yourself a break is really an act of grace, and I so appreciate this space to be able to encourage this message. I just don't hear it coming from enough movement professionals. I think part of it is because we get stuck in our own stories and norms of how movement was presented to us. We don't have an entry point into a deeper experience with the education. And so I just really want to keep talking about it, and I know that you all who are here are continually sharing this, so please and thank you. Keep sharing, and thank you for sharing. Grace, oh good. Thank you, Joy. I'm receiving the blessings. Oh, Tracy, I didn't see. I wonder how the rebounding felt prior to this. It's so good. I just want to flesh out your vocabulary a little more with some of these classes. And yeah, we've got some plans coming up for the future, so stay tuned. To support me, visit the show. If you're already in a library or you're showing up on a weekly, you are supporting. I appreciate you. I'll look forward to seeing you next Monday for another Bounce class. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Tell him he's all you see. Tell him you got his keys, cause you thought he needed them, but he's not coming back again. So he's gone, leaving then. You won't see him again. It was